In today's episode, you get to listen to a one-to-one coaching call that I had with one of the members of Farm Marketing School. And what we discussed was, how do we get a new enterprise started from the ground up? It was a really great call. And after we finished, I thought to myself, this is something that I would want to share with my whole community because there are a lot of lessons and principles at play here. So let's get started. Hey there, this is Corinna Bench, and welcome to the My Digital Farmer podcast. In today's market, it's not enough to just grow your product. You've got to know how to sell it too. Welcome to the My Digital Farmer podcast, where we reveal online marketing strategies and tips to help farmers like you get better and more confident at marketing. Learn how to find more customers, increase your sales, and build a strong brand for your farm. Let's start the show. Well, welcome to episode 279 of the My Digital Farmer podcast. I am your host, Corinna Bench, one of the farmers at Shared Legacy Farms out in Elmore, Ohio. I'm also the founder of MyDigitalFarmer.com, which is all about trying to help other farmers like you get more confident in your marketing and sales strategies so that you can grow a profitable business. How's everyone doing today? Welcome back to the show. Big shout out to all of my regular listeners, my binge listeners. And if you're new to the show, I'm really glad you're here. Welcome to the community. Make sure that you subscribe to the podcast. You're going to want to do that. And then go check out some of my back issues. You can scroll through. I've got over 250 of them now. And I'm sure you can find something there that piques your interest. If you're really new to the marketing space, though, and you need kind of a 101 crash course, I recommend that you go listen to the first 10. Or even better, get onto my email list, because when you do, I'm going to send you a weekly email for like 3 months that's going to walk you through the marketing jungle and kind of get you onboarded into what you need to know. And you can do that by going to mydigitalfarmer.com/subscribe. I get really good reviews for that, so definitely take advantage of that. Today's episode is sponsored by my friends at Local Line. Switch to Local Line and grow your farm to new heights this season. Local Line is the most comprehensive sales software built for farmers and food hubs. Its features include e-commerce, automated inventory management, subscriptions, a website builder, point of sale, and more, helping you increase your sales and streamline your processes. So whether you're a CSA farmer or you sell meat, you run a food hub, or maybe you sell wholesale or offer a herd share, Local Line has the tools and features that you need to succeed. We're a big fan. Are you looking to switch to a sales software that does it all? Subscriptions start as low as $49 a month with no setup fees or sales percentages. That's huge for me. Plus, if you join Local Line today, your onboarding manager will migrate your storefront at no cost, so you can be up and running in no time, even in the middle of the season. As a bonus, if you are a podcast listener, Local Line is also offering a free premium feature for 1 year with your subscription when you use my coupon code MDF2024. So go to mydigitalfarmer.com/local line and then enter the coupon code MDF2024. Make the switch today. And now back to the show. Well, this episode is going to be coming out in the middle of September, but I am actually recording it at the end of August, and my kids are heading back to school. So we're in that transition phase on the farm. We're coming out of summer vacation and hitting new routines. So this is always a bittersweet time of year for me. My oldest son, Jed, who is 16, is now a junior in high school. And he's driving himself to school. So if you've been listening to the show for a while, you know that for the first 2 years of high school, we were driving Jed to aviation school every day, twice a day. We were making that trip because we would have to take him in the morning and then drive back home. It's about a half-hour drive. And then we'd have to go again around 2:30 and then bring him back. So twice a day, we made that commitment to go pick him up from school, bring him home. And I remember when we first started that, wow, I was like, this is going to be a real drag to have to find time in our schedule to make this happen. But we were committed to really supporting our son in that way. And here we are at the end of those 2 years. And he is now finally able to drive himself. He was able to purchase his own vehicle. He emptied his savings out, his life savings pretty much. I was so proud of him, and he bought his own car. We had to loan him a little bit of money, but I'm happy to say that we would not let him drive the car. We told him, you're not allowed to drive this until you have paid us back in full. And let me tell you, there's nothing more motivating. All of a sudden, he wanted to work. He found another job. And I think he got that paid off in like 4 weeks so that he could drive. But he's driving his own vehicle. And it was kind of sad for me. It was exciting, but also sad to no longer have that time with him in the car twice a day. So it's an interesting season for me, saying goodbye to some things, saying hello to other things. So, well, let's jump into today's content. This particular episode was a little bit of a surprise, meaning I hadn't planned this topic. And it's an interview with one of the members of my farm marketing school, which is my monthly membership program for farmers that helps teach how to build your marketing machine, the different elements that need to go into your marketing machine. And every month, I coach farmers to choose a project to build that marketing asset in 30 days. There's a project build, there's a video, there's resources to help you get it done. Now, one of the resources that I offer as part of this membership is a monthly Zoom call because I want to be able to support people if they have questions. Sometimes it's a Q&A. Sometimes it's somebody just coming and having some coaching with me. Sometimes it's a discussion where we're doing a book study or we're discussing a particular topic and a mindset shift that we need to make. And I never really know how many people are going to come on. There are certain seasons of the year where we don't have as huge group as others. And this particular month, I only had one person show up, and it was Allan. And we ended up having a really great one-to-one coaching call for about an hour. It was kind of a big bonus for him. And the way we used this time together was he just was sharing how he had just gotten started in farm marketing school. And he wanted to start out by building out this soap enterprise because he has lard from pigs that he raises. And so we talked through, well, what would that look like? And how much do you need to earn in revenue? And what are the strategies you're going to use for attracting people into your sales funnel? And what are you going to do next, et cetera, et cetera. It ended up being a really great conversation because we covered so many different facets of the process. And I asked him at the end, I said, hey, would it be okay if I turned this into a podcast episode? Because I think it's really instructional for farmers, especially farmers who might be in the beginning stages or who are thinking about starting a new enterprise within their business. How would you go about doing that? What are the things you have to think about? And I especially liked the section in this interview where we talk about how do you set a goal, a revenue goal, and then how do you meet that? Like how do you put teeth to that and actually build a strategy so that you can get there? And I hope you find that part as interesting as I did. I think it really kind of clicked for him and gave him some motivation. He realized that it wasn't going to be as hard as he thought to get to that number. So basically what I'm doing is I'm going to drop this Zoom call into this podcast episode. So it's going to be a little jarring because we're going to kind of cut all the hellos and check-in time at the beginning, and we're just going to go right into the meat of the coaching session. And I'm actually going to have him kind of introduce himself because at the end of the call, I was like, I want to make a podcast out of this. Can you just quick introduce yourself so I can stick it at the front of my episode? So he's actually going to do his own little intro, and then we'll kind of click over to the actual coaching session. So this is going to be kind of fun for those of you who've been thinking about joining farm marketing school. This is one of the elements that's inside of the membership that comes with it. And like I said, it's different every time. Sometimes it's a group session where we have a lot of dialogue, and sometimes it's a lot of one-on-one personal coaching like this, where we kind of troubleshoot a particular issue. And so if you ever wondered what sorts of things go on inside of farm marketing school, because I will be kind of ramping that up again here in the fall and inviting farmers to join for the off season here in a few weeks, then maybe this will be fun for you to listen to and see if this is something that would be valuable to you. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to turn on our recording from the Zoom call, and I want to introduce you to my guest, Allan Laird. So let's get started. All right, well, welcome to the show. Why don't you start out by telling my audience a little bit about your background in your farm business?
Okay, well, my name is Allan Laird. My wife's name is Sue, and we are both retired. She was a school teacher, and I was a police chief and director of campus safety for a college. And after we retired, we needed to figure out what to do, so we bit off more than we can chew and started a farm called Hooves and Feathers, which has lots of pigs, lots of chickens, and that grew into Highland cattle, and the side of hogs is fat, which turns into lard, which we then use to make natural soaps. And then neighbor has some goats, and so we mix the goat milk with the contents of the fats and oils and come up with a really good goat milk soap that we are marketing to the community.
And the goal is to what with this business?
Since we don't want to spend all of our retirement money on supporting the hobbies, so it should be taking care of its own expenses as well as having the fun of making products that people in the community can participate in, purchase.
So I read your email and you said you've just been getting started.
Yeah, this is month one,
Yep.
and you know what you sent, so in month one.
Yes. What was the
Sure.
reason that you decided to join farm marketing school?
Well, I retired. When you retire, then you work harder than ever, and you come up with your new little toys and your new projects and new everything else. And my wife talked me into hogs. No, actually, that was mine. I have hogs. We have chickens. We have um, 8 head of Scottish Highland cattle, and the hogs have a side market of lard because when you butcher them, you get a lot of lard. Trying to figure out what to do with lard, that brought me into soap. Soap is something you use lard for. And when we got the Highland cattle, the people that we've associated with said, you can either spend your retirement money on your hobby of Highland cattle, or you can figure out how you're going to make them pay. And so 2 to 3 years down the road, I've got to have a market for Highland beef. And we are in the middle of cattle country, and everybody has feedlots and Hereford cows, and the price for beef is $3.50 on hanging, which isn't enough to pay for the grain that you're putting in it, or hay or grass and hay that you're feeding them. And if you're going to sell to people that need the quality beef that Highlands, and I mean it's similar to Wagyu, you're going to have to market it at $6.50 to $7 a pound hanging. And I figured, well, I might as well start learning to market. And so down the road, so the two things, the one that I'm working on right now is the soap, because the back room is full, and I have to figure out how to make it go away because it's another hobby too, and it should be paying for itself. But those people that are going to be using goat milk soap are people who also will be eating quality meat down the road. And that's kind of where I was, in listening to what you put out and thinking about my market and the segment of what I'm looking for. Those are the type of people that I need to be looking for. So, so yeah, and I took business marketing in college, and that has nothing to do when I did it that relates to social media and news, email marketing and all that kind of good stuff. It basically was, let's spend a lot of money on a newspaper ad and a TV ad, and that's not what we do anymore.
Right. Well, what I wanted to point out first here is that it sounds like you are looking at numbers, which is
Yeah.
so good because a lot of people early on don't do
Yeah.
that. And they're just doing the things that look like marketing, but they're not actually
Right.
taking a look at, well, what do the numbers tell me? What do the numbers need to do for me?
Yeah. You need
So,
to break even.
I
You need
mean,
to
you
more than
need to
break
break
even.
even, but yeah, you need to build a profit margin in there too.
Right.
Otherwise,
Hmm.
unless this is really just like, if you would do this anyway, even if you didn't make money, I guess that's a different
Yeah. I mean, if you're just
conversation
doing it strictly
for
for a
fun.
hobby, yeah, for fun, but
Yeah. Um, Although I like to say, if the more you can come from a place of fun in your business and really be there for the process,
yeah.
like not
Mhm.
be attached to the result, but be attached, be there because the process is fun, then that usually tends to lead to success. And if you have time, if you're not
Right.
attached to it has to happen in 6 months or 12 months,
Right.
you have more options there.
Well, and things have to be fun too. If
Yeah.
if
Well,
it's
what's the
not
point?
fun, then you should be doing something different. So,
Yeah, exactly. So what have the numbers been telling you?
um, so basically, the there's a lot of people selling goat milk soap, but there's a lot of people that want it and it's not available. So what I'm seeing is that there is a market now. Um, what I've been doing so far is giving it away. And so I know what my costs are. I know what I can peddle it for if I put myself in front of my customers.
Mhm.
I just haven't developed the customers, and that's what I'm starting to do right now. Is look at how my friends and family. I've heard that over and over in some of the videos that I've been talking about. Your first people are friends and family, and then you go from there. But I'm also looking into, how do I put that out in front of people that are not necessarily friends and family who might be looking for, something that will fix their eczema and their psoriasis, and make it so they don't have to buy lotion, um, for the soap angle. Um, so I don't know for sure what numbers I'm going to have. I mean, that's all perspective. Because like I'm doing now is just passing it out, getting testimonials back from people that says, "Hey, this is the best thing
Always
since sliced
fun.
bread." I'm copying and pasting and keeping that stuff for when I need it. Um, so yeah, and the cattle, it's down the road. So
Yeah.
I know what I'm going to have if the economy doesn't do if inflation doesn't make it go out the window. But right now, looking at that 6.50 to $7 a pound for hanging weight on cattle, and that's local. And then I know that you can ship and deliver, but there's the problem with that is you have to have a USDA butcher in Idaho. So um, that brings the cost of having a finished product higher, which means that you know the profit margin is going to be less if I'm still looking at that price. So, but I figured I'd start with something that was tangible that I had, and then start working into the meat business down the road.
Yeah. Okay. Would you mind like if we use some of this time to, I don't know, brainstorm like a little
I would
strategy here, or did you want
nope
to
send,
use, I know you were thinking, well, I'll just sit there and not talk the whole time, but no one
and
else
then
has
there's
come
you.
on yet.
It's
So
Yeah, it's you and me. So yeah,
yeah. So I mean, you
no,
can
I'm
use time to your advantage,
yeah,
or you
I'm
can sit there and we can stare at each other.
and look at each other in the pictures. No, no, I'm willing to. Yeah, if I look at something and I tell you I have no clue, well,
Yeah,
that's why
that's
I'm
okay.
here. Is
That's
yeah,
okay.
have no clue. So
You get a little bonus one-on-one coaching.
Today's podcast is sponsored by Farm Marketing School.
This is my monthly membership where farmers can come in and build marketing assets one at a time in special 30-day build projects that I've created for you. There are currently over 14 different projects inside of Farm Marketing School, including your website homepage, building a promo calendar, building a promotional email challenge, testimonial and reviews, how to build a better offer, your email nurture sequence, your lead magnet. There's a sales funnel audit. There's a ton of good stuff in there. And I'm adding new material every couple of months. Plus, you get a monthly Zoom meetup with the whole group in the middle of the month. And we'll be doing some book studies off in the fall. I'm really there just to try and empower you and help you get your marketing assets built. So the way this works is you subscribe from month to month. You can cancel whenever you want. You go in, you take the assessment. There's also a crash course in marketing that you can watch to just learn the lingo and the vocabulary and the framework. And then you get started building your first marketing asset. Every project includes a hour-long tutorial, a resource folder that gives you lots of templates and examples to help make the process of actually building your own version really fast, and also a project planner to help you time it out and make sure you get everything done. If you want to learn more about how to join Farm Marketing School and try it out, you can go to mydigitalfarmer.com/FMS. This is my new kind of flagship offer, my community that I'm going to really be pouring myself into over the next 6 to 12 months. Really excited about it. So I'd love to interact with you. Join at mydigitalfarmer.com/FMS. And now back to the show. Well, you kind of hint, let's start with the soap. I guess we'll focus there because that's really what you're looking at, right? That's the beginning.
Yep, it is.
And you hinted at that you're solving a problem with this soap. This isn't just, oh, I sell soap. What makes
Right, no.
your soap is different in some way. So what's the problem that it's solving for people? Because we're trying to get at like, who are the people that you target, right, to go after this?
Right. So people that have skin issues, skin problems, and people that want their skin to be soft and not rough and coarse and without having to put lotion on. Because the coconut oil, the olive oil, the lard are healing agents. The goat milk is loaded with, vitamin A and so that in itself seems to, and you can't hang your shingle on it and say it's going to cure anything.
Yeah.
But the people who have used it have found that their eczema goes away. They've found that their bumps on their skin disappear. They found that rashes don't occur. And so that, I think, is the problems that people have that I would be looking at solving. Now, the other people that look at it, use it and just say, oh, this is the best thing because it's so soft. Now I think maybe we're looking at ego.
Mm-hmm.
This is great. I can spend 2 hours in the shower instead of using Coast or something. I don't know exactly what would be feeding their desire, except that I know that they're very appreciative of it, and they're very repetitive in their positive comments.
When you trade free product for a testimonial, what about also trading like some interview time with
to find out why? Okay.
To figure out some of that customer research? There's a course in Farm Marketing School called Customer Research Bootcamp, and you don't have to watch the whole thing if you don't want, but there are some downloads that have just questions that you could use for a survey or for a one-on-one conversation with someone if you're kind of trying to figure out, well, what would I even ask them for market research purposes? And that might be helpful. Another way to leverage the free product things, be like, hey, in return, would you be willing to talk with me for like 15 minutes after you've used it? And kind of want to know XYZ.
Why?
Yeah. And one of those questions is definitely why. Like why did you seek this out, or what drew your attention to it? I think you're trying to figure out too, especially with these folks who have eczema, who have skin issues, rashes, acne, whatever it solves. Like, um, where are they in their journey, right? Like, have they already researched before they came to you, or are they just
Okay.
learning about it? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's called market
If there's
substitution. This concept of like, I don't even know I have a problem.
right, right.
Oh, now I know I have a problem, or I know about the problem, but I don't know all the different ways you can solve it. I'm learning about all the different ways you can solve it. And now I've zoned in. The next stage is like I've zoned in on this one way you can solve it.
Hmm.
And I'm really researching all about that. And now I'm finding one specific business that
Right,
solves it that way, right? There's like this step process.
right.
And so where is your client in that process? Have they already sort of done phase 1 and 2 by the time they get to you? Or is
Yeah.
that might be interesting because that's going to help you know what
Well,
am I supposed to be talking about
it
with
might
people
give me an
marketing?
opportunity to also learn about where, because one of the things that I saw that we talked about was the educational
Yeah,
concept
yeah.
to help build that relationship. And if they don't know anything about it except who it works, or we maybe knowing why it works, or um, which give me some email
Email content. Yep,
content. Yeah. Hmm.
correct. You can know what to focus on email 1, email 2 as you're trying to nurture them
Right.
along.
Hmm.
Yep.
Okay.
Or if you create blogs or video content, I don't know if you're going to do social media posts, like those are all, there can just be a trajectory of like, these are the 5 things I repeat over and over again
Right.
because I know my brand new person who's in the learning phase of what the heck eczema even
Right.
is. And, I
Yeah.
need to kind of help guide that process along. You'll know what those talking points should be. Also like who are they? Are they kids? Or are they mostly
Right.
women? Are they women doing this for their husbands who are working with their hands at factories? I don't know,
Right.
like
Yeah. Right. No. No.
what's the different use cases? Because
Hmm.
realize that wow, there's a lot of women buying it for their husbands,
And there
right?
is.
Is there?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So now
Yes,
you
there is. They my leather shop soap. I can't keep it. Everybody wants it. Everybody likes it. This is for their husbands, and then there's also a pine tar, which the males seem to like a lot, which
Hmm.
is a kind of a scrub soap to get the grease off their hands and the out from under their fingernails. So um,
Well, right there. I mean, you just talked
yeah,
about 2 very specific use
there's
cases. And so if that's I'm focusing on social media right now, but like you could do
right,
email, you could do video on all of these, but there's a very specific laser beam content focus where the post is just about getting stuff out from under your fingernails. And the image of the hand you use or the model or whoever's doing that
right,
content is a burly guy,
right,
like who
mhm,
looks like they work at a factory and has dirty
right.
fingernails. Like so
Hmm.
that a person when they see it, they're like, that looks like my husband, or like
Yeah.
that could be me, right? They mirror themselves in that content.
Okay. Right.
Um, so trying to figure out who's actually using it and who's benefiting from it. And you may find you have 2 to 3 different types of common
Hmm.
themes that come out, and that'll help you
Right.
know who to focus on.
Right.
So a lot of that is the top of the funnel
Right.
content. You've
Mhm.
watched some of the stuff
Yep.
in
Mhm.
marketing school to understand what that means, right?
In
Um,
fact, I just finished this morning while I was having my coffee. I just finished up the sales funnel group where you had, I don't know, three different individuals that were presenting their
their funnel. Yep.
their funnel stuff. So I got a lot of notes off of that. Plus, I made some things for me to do and for my to-do list. So
Good. What was one of
often, well, why soap? So we just taled about that. I put a question mark after the Highlands just to say that needs to be on the back burner because it's not related to
not
soap,
the
but
it's
this
not
is
the gateway, right? Like
right.
you're trying to
Yeah,
figure out the gateway.
yep, I am. I need to look at pricing. And that was, but I also found where we were talking about what do we call it? Anchoring, price anchoring.
Hmm.
So, and that's I was looking at how to everything is everything is about $7 a bar. So, but my to be a high priced item to throw, people into getting a bargain on a medium one might be, this is just my thought, as I was trying to wrap my head around what you were talking about, was to maybe the high priced item would be buy 10 bars,
Yes, bundle.
which is going to cost $70, or I can just sell you five, which is going to cost, you know, 35, and maybe on a bargain day it might be 25. So,
Or it's a variety
or
pack.
right, or a free shipping on a to give them something in the middle to look at. So that was
Yeah.
something that popped up. Um, the testimonials I just marked that because, and I know that's been things just sometimes happens. I think because maybe God tells us it's supposed to. I was looking at, I was reading about testimonials, and one of my nieces sent an email and said, "Oh, that soap that you left off was wonderful. Can I get some from you, some more? And where do I get it?" And I called her and said, "Yeah, but would you do it off the website and see how that works and give me some critique? I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
want to know whether it works or doesn't work." And I mean,
And what's
I played it
confusing?
out, so I know the store works, but I want to know what she thinks.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, yeah. And before the night was over, she had three reviews written on three different places, as well as a Facebook post that says, "Hey, this is the best stuff. You should probably go check it out." So, I mean, and that in itself ties back into what we were visiting with earlier
Yeah.
about how can I use that. So, um, those were those that
For
was
the three. Okay.
my to-do list to start with, just right off of just that one, what I was looking at.
Yeah. When you look at 3 months, 6 months out into the future, do you have like a general target you're aiming for? Like what is it a number? Like I'm trying to get to
Yeah,
10 regular customers that are buying consistently three
I
times a
I
year,
heard
5 times a year. Like what does that look like so that you can
I
start to make a metric, right?
I heard you say that just a little bit ago too. Um, because goals have to be measurable and they have to be
Well, this is a data
obtainable.
point. This is a number, right? When I talked
Right.
about, you need to know your numbers. So like, if you want
Mm-hmm.
to get to $1,000 a month or whatever,
Right.
there are
Mm-hmm.
many ways you can get to $1,000. You can have two customers that spend $500 a month with you
Right. Right.
over and over and over again, or you can have 10 that buy $10, $100 worth of
Right.
product a month. Like,
Right.
so figure out what are the different ways you can get to the number. So you got to know the number.
Right.
Then you get to play around with, well, I could have 5 clients that are getting the variety pack, and I can
Right.
have this many clients who are getting this, and then a few that are getting this level, and that's going to get me to this number. And
So
then it's sort of like, well, is that realistic? Like, how do I get a
right.
person to become a variety pack customer, right? Is there, um, or where do I start? Like, what's more realistic? Maybe I'm going to really just begin with a lot of people getting soap once a month because they run out
Right.
of how long it
Mm-hmm.
takes to run out of soap. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And so I've got to be issuing offers every month to make sure
Mm-hmm.
that that continues, or I have to set up my process so that it's a subscription or whatever,
Right.
right? So
Right.
you're really trying to figure out what's the how to get to that number. And then
Mm-hmm.
comes a question of, well, once I hit, you'll have to know what this number is, but it's 20 people. Once I hit 20 people, that's a milestone.
Right.
The goal is to turn them into a recurring client, which is great with soap. Like
Right.
you're hardcore into soap, like you need more soap. It runs out.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Um, And then it's like, okay, well, now how do I multiply these kinds of clients? How do I find more that look like these people? And then that's when it begins to scale. And then you start to change your systems because you'll sell more and more and more. But you need to build that machine that can that can turn this into an automated process, right? So
Right. Mm-hmm.
what does that look like? I've got this tool. It's going to help people get onto my email list. And then I'm going to have this opening offer. And then I'm going to be trying to get people to spend X amount of money per
Right.
month. And I'm always going to lead with this product because this is my best seller. And then I'm going to try and get them to buy this because this is the thing that people like a lot too. right? And I'll have my average cart value be this, and then that's going to get me to my number, right? So you're kind of just
Right.
working your way
Right.
backwards.
Hmm.
I just spouted out a lot of stuff, but does anything jump
Nope.
out at you? Like, are you thinking, okay, like what would that look like? What's your number? Do you have a number you want
Yeah,
to?
no, I don't have a number. So I mean, that's something, it would be nice to, so just for purposes, let's just say,
What do you
because
charge
my
for the
wife,
service?
let's start with, $1,000 a month income.
Okay.
That would be, and then work backwards off of
Okay,
that.
let's do it. Let's just play with that.
Okay.
And maybe you'll decide, okay, it needs to be 500. I don't know, like
I think,
for my
I was,
personal, like
after
what
I
you
said
said.
that, I was thinking maybe I should have just said 500. So, yeah.
Do you want to do something like 500? Let's say
Let,
500.
yeah, let's do 500.
Although 1,000 is easier to like divide and do decimals, but whatever. We'll just do
Yeah.
500. I'm gonna get my phone calculator out.
And we,
Okay.
we could do a 1,000 and divide it by two. That would get us to 500. Yeah.
Okay, so you want to make $500 in revenue, or is that profit?
Yeah, that can be revenue.
Okay, that's revenue.
Yeah.
$500 of soap per month. And what is an average, what is a bar of soap in general for your bestseller?
$7.
$7. And
$7. Yeah.
when people buy, how much are they usually buying? What's the average value of the cart?
Probably because if you can give them free shipping at 25, then they're going to have to go with 4 bars. 4 times 7 would be 28. Um, and that will take care of, if they use one in the sink and one in the shower, that's probably going to give them a month's worth of
Okay, so
soap.
that's another detail to
Right.
figure that out too. If we're trying to get $500 a month, then we want to
Hmm.
know how much do they use in a month. If we were having this conversation, like how much are they buying in a quarter, like
Right.
for 4 months, or yeah, then we would be asking a different question, like, well, how much do they go through in that amount of time? So this
Right.
is perfect.
Okay.
If this is like a product that runs out every month, it's about 4 bars that they would
Yep.
run out of. Okay.
Yes.
So the average family or person you're thinking is going to go through 4 of these a month. So it's going to be
Well,
about,
but then question that goes with this is what is the average customer? Because is this two people or is this a family? Because if it's two people, that's $4 or 4 bars.
mhm,
If that's a family of
4.
4, it would be twice that.
You think it would be twice that, but you don't know
I
that for sure, or is
No,
that
I that's just a wild guess off
okay?
of
So when you're interviewing people, this might
yes.
be a good question to find out. How quickly do you go through this? How often do you need to replenish your soap? And where are you using the soap? Is it at the kitchen sink, in the bathroom, in the utility room? Like
Right.
where are you putting it, right? Because there might
Right.
be some people who have like 5 bathrooms. No, I'm kidding. That's too many in the house. They might have actually what we want is sinks, right? They might have multiple sinks in the
Right.
house
Hmm.
and they want this at every sink. So maybe that's a question to ask. How many sinks are in your house? That
Right.
sounds
Right.
really well, like, yeah, like so maybe they have a garage sink. Who
Yeah.
knows?
Hmm.
Or they're bringing
And
it to
if
work. I don't
and
know.
if they and if but if they have a garage sink, then we want to sell them pine tar soap that's a scrub soap rather than a
True that. Yes.
facial bar that's in mom's bathroom.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But when you
Yeah.
do this research, you'll figure out, well, how are they using it? Where is it? Where are they using
Yeah.
it? Right.
Hmm.
Then that'll kind of, how often does it get replenished?
And then how quickly are they going to use it?
Yeah.
Right.
So we're going to make an assumption that you have some clients who are buying 4 a month, and you
Yeah.
might have some that are getting what,
More.
6? Like
6. Yeah.
maybe not double, but
Yeah.
because maybe they have
Hmm.
some bathrooms that
Right.
the sinks that
Hmm.
aren't used as much.
Yeah.
Okay. So anybody who's watching the replay, this is going to be really fun because this is what you have to do with your own business when you're just trying to map it out and understand, well, how's the customer going to use it? And then you're getting in the numbers. So let's do 4 bars a month. That's, let's just round up. That's $30 per purchase. That's
Purchase.
if they just buy that. And the first time they buy, that's probably all they're buying, right? Is
Right.
just
Right.
that one soap.
Yep.
Is it conceivable that over time you would get them to buy other things when they keep coming back, that they'll want you will have other things in your product suite.
Yes, right. In fact, right now we have the soap saver bars or dish trays, which allows the air to get
Oh.
underneath it, which dries the soap so that it doesn't sit in a puddle of water on the sink, which makes it
Mm.
last longer,
Yeah.
as well as the crocheted exfoliating bags that you put your leftovers in. So when your bar of soap gets down to slivers or nothing, you can drop them over into this little bag that you hang in your shower, which dries out, which also
Hmm.
suds up just as soon as you get it wet, and then you can use it to
Brilliant.
scrub dead.
Those are video ideas right there. I'm just thinking that's content that should be regularly showing up in your social media, like the soap saver and the so that people even know that that's going to be a problem.
Right. Yeah.
Once you buy this, it dissolves, right? Real quickly, and you need a way to save it, not let it sit in the water. So, I'm also thinking you potentially have some options. I'm going off on a rail here, but like there's maybe a way you could create a special offer around those products where they become, if somebody spends on their first order, the first time they buy with you could have some sort of a teaser like, if you spend $50, I'll throw in a free soap
Throw
saver.
these throw these in. Yeah. And
Or
here's why you need it.
right.
Yeah.
And so now they have the tray to hold your soap, right? You can even brand the tray
Right.
so it's like your stuff. I don't know, whatever. That's down the road, but that's just another way to jazz
Right.
up an offer. So, okay, so at 30, let's just say people are spending $30 with you the first time and you want to get to $500 a month. You're going to take 500 divided by 30. That's only 16 people.
Right.
Does that, that feel that to me, that doesn't feel,
That should be doable.
that's very doable, right?
Hmm.
16 people who are, gosh, even if that's 16 people, let's just say so the first month, let's say you hit that, you've got 16 people that bought for the first time. Now you're moving into month 2. And let's say your retention rate is 50%. Only
Okay.
8 of those people come back and actually buy again. So in order to get that $500, you have to have a process where 8 new clients are coming into the fold every month to replace the ones that aren't renewing, right? But you are,
Right.
every time you're coming in, those people are coming in, like 50% of them are staying. Now, over time, you want
Right.
that to climb, right? And that's
Right. Right.
something you play with, right? That's the
Hmm.
positioning of the message and making sure you're getting the right customer.
Right.
Even look at this. But again, now you can start playing with those numbers. If your retention rate is 50%, or maybe you want to say it's going to be 75%, that's something you can find out and look at as you're studying
Just
your orders over the next few months,
right.
as you're
Hmm.
doing this beta test, right? What is my retention rate? How many people are coming back every month? And then you can start to look at those numbers and you can project like this is what it will look like. And that takes the pressure off. Like, oh, I only have to find 8 people, new people a month
Hmm.
into my funnel. Um, well, not really into my funnel. I need to convert 8 people who are in my funnel.
Convert. Yeah. Right.
You'll have to have more in your funnel if you want to convert. But and then you'll kind of be able to know that's what I need in order to stay at 500.
Right.
Now, that's just assuming people are only ever buying the same $30 cart value over and over and over again.
Right.
You could also, you'll start to play with, well, another way I could do this is that some of those $30 a month people will turn into $50 a month people because I'm going to start encouraging them to buy the stuff for the utility sink. What did you call it? The tar or something?
Yeah. Pine tar.
Pine tar,
Yeah.
right? And you'll kind of start to see, well, I have some clients that after a couple of months, their average customer value is no longer $30, it's $50. And
Hmm.
about this percentage of my clientele falls into that. It's really
Right.
interesting when you start looking at the numbers, you'll see patterns, right? And then you can start
Right.
making business decisions based off of what you see your typical client doing. All right, what's coming up for you when you look at this?
Um, so, so one of the things that is I have to look at where I'm going to distribute it, and farm markets are not my billywhack. I'm not going to go sit at a a farm market and wait for customers who just want to walk by and spend their money today. I
Mhm.
mean, that's something that I've thought about, even though it's seasonal. I mean, that's a seasonal, you know, um, this is the type of stuff that you could sell at the craft fair for holidays. You
Yeah.
can make things smell like pumpkin spice and uh, and go do that. But I outside of investing in that to maybe get a list of people that might want to get on my subscription list, and that I mean I wouldn't say never ever do that, but I don't look at that saying, okay, that's not my goal of going to to a show like that would be to uh, to make money off of it. It would be to get people on my list, if that makes sense.
It does.
And maybe that's wrong, but yeah,
No, what you're pointing out is that, the different markets, the different places where you sell, your different marketing channels,
all right,
they have a purpose. They each have their own kind of unique purpose. Um, and there might be when you look at the overall business picture, you might have 70% of your sales coming in from this kind of stuff that we just talked through, right? Like
right,
having a client that buys online that just does it through shipping or whatever. And then you might have 30% of your sales that come in for holiday, Christmas gifts,
okay,
right? Where you create bundles and offers specifically for that kind of audience who only buys once a year and maybe only once ever. And that's just a special promotion that you run, and you do put some energy towards promoting that around November when people are in the gift giving kind of phase,
right,
right? And you are fairly successful with that. And you just know that that number is about 20-30%. And I'm just going to count on that. And that's fine, right?
right,
I guess I thought of farmers market because you might find some clients there that enough clientele that are creating like 10 to 20% of your revenue, for your business from that kind of
right,
from a sale, right? And some of those people will turn into a potentially an online store type of person when the season's over, if you're not going to markets anymore, and they can just continue to buy that way. So I'm
okay,
not saying don't ever go to markets. You might want to go to a market for a while just to um, like you said, grow your list, makes people aware that you're there. It will attract some people to you who become
right,
customers. But you are bringing up a really good kind of discussion here of like, make sure that in the grand scheme of things, like the value of the kind of customer that you're really going after is the one who's going to spend a lot of money with you, right? Who's a repeat buyer. And so which marketing channel does that best? Is it something that you do while sitting at a booth at the farmer's market? Is that an investment of your time that's going to have an ROI
yeah,
on the road? Or can you put that same amount of time in some of this other strategy to get people who are just going to buy online and you're just going to mail order stuff, right? They both
right,
can work. They both can work. It's just like, what kind of business do you want? This is a business by your design, right? And there's a project in farm marketing school, the promotion calendar, building your promotion calendar. And
right.
I know some of the students that when we did the group call, and if you watch that video, you'll see
I
that
mean,
they're
yeah,
mapping out their revenue for the year. They're looking at, well, I know that I have a certain number of people that buy, bulk beef once a year, and like they're this amount, they're this percent. And so I have a process for those people and I count on that. And I need to have that percentage be the same from year to year. Um, and then I have a bunch of people that buy stuff for Christmas. So I have a big promotion for Christmas stuff or turkey, turkey hams. Sorry, turkey
right,
hams, Thanksgiving hams. Um, so they just sort of know like there are seasonal things that bring in the money, and you'll figure out what that is too this is one idea to just have a regular online store customer mail order person, but you may find that I make some good money at the farmer's market, or I make 20%, 10%, 50, whatever good means to you, 50%, or I seem to make a ton of revenue just through my email list when I blast out that I've got a special going on for
Right. Okay.
Christmas presents, right? So that's just know that you have lots of different options for how to get to your 500. 500 seems small now that I'm looking at this. 16 people, you're going to blow through that really fast.
1,000 looked big when we first started.
Right?
So
I know. Especially when
yeah.
you think about, well, $500 is totally doable with this kind of strategy if you're just doing the trying to get 16 people buying every month. But
Right.
imagine if you added like this idea of Christmas bundles, presents, and you know, or Mother's Day or whatever. Like now you have the gifting aspect that could be a nice sizable chunk that you count
Hmm.
on that brings in a certain amount every year too. So it doesn't always
And
have to
it
be per month.
might also might also add to the, I mean, if grandma buys soap for everybody on Christmas, then and they like it, then where did I get this and how do I get
Yeah.
it? So it's add possibility of adding to the customer list.
Yeah,
Um,
I love that.
not I mean, you can only guess at that at this point
Right.
until it happens, and then you could count and see if it was worth it.
Yeah. Well, like I said, you'll start when you have these conversations with your customers, you'll start to
Right.
see what are you doing with my product?
Yeah.
You're giving it away, or yeah, is it a gift? Um, Now, do you have a process or a plan to create some sort of referral system, like
I
when
was
someone
going to
buys for
mention
the first time?
I was going to mention that because that was one of the things that I picked up in one of the videos that I was watching. Also, was the in exchange for a new customer. I was watching somebody saying that they had a kind of a punch card with 7 dozen eggs, and the eighth one was free uh, for
Yep.
something again. Eight, he was asking for $7 a dozen for eggs, um, but still that gave him some excitement.
Yep. That's a great
Um,
example. Or,
so
how do you, if somebody buys from you mail order for the first time,
mhm,
can you, and they really have a great experience and they want to tell someone about it, how can you make it easy for them to
right,
tell someone about it?
and
What
get something in and get something in return.
Yes, like is there a card in there to and an encouragement to
Hmm.
share this with a friend, or is it a QR code on that card that makes it easy for someone else if they pass it to a friend to scan it and maybe there's a special offer on that QR code. Friends of our customers, right, get 10% off their first order or whatever.
Right,
Um, Something that would incentivize the person to share. Or maybe
right.
it's the person who shares gets a reward for every new customer you bring us.
How do you keep track of that?
Well, that's a good question. At first, I'm sure there is some kind of app or like um thing that eventually could turn that into an automation. I don't know how to answer that, to be honest.
Okay.
But I think at first, the small scale,
They
you would
they tell
just be
you and you,
tracking it manually at first
yeah.
until it
Mhm.
starts to become a pain in the butt. And then you're like, I gotta figure out
Figure out how to do this.
a
Yeah.
system, right? Yes, that tracks this for me. That may mean moving to a different e-commerce platform that can do that for you, but there should be a way. If they're ordering online, a lot of times the platforms will have a comment area or a place to put a
Okay.
coupon code.
Okay.
So you could give people um, instructions like, let us know who sent you
Yeah.
and
To the new customer.
a new
Have,
customer.
yeah.
Right.
Okay.
If you have certain customers that, now this would get really, you could do this at the beginning before it scales. You could give each unique customer, let's say after they bought with you, bought twice, and
Yeah.
maybe they're more of a serious client. You could give them a unique coupon code that is only for them. This would mean you'd have to have a software system that could create tons of different coupon codes. And so
Right.
let's just say Amanda, her coupon code is Mandy4. Okay. And so you tell Amanda, give this coupon code to anybody who, that you want to recommend it to, and it gets them this offer. And
Right,
so then when their friend uses the Mandy 4 code, then that came from Mandy 4. Only Mandy 4
right.
has that. And
Mhm.
then every time it gets used, it's like a flag going up saying Mandy 4 brought me this person, right?
Right.
So
Mhm.
that's something that you could, again, that would get old after a while. After you have a ton of customers, I don't know if that's going to work anymore, but it could be a way at first to just
To
get
get
started.
started. Yeah,
Sorry,
to get started.
he's honking. Um,
Okay.
but it's just an idea to get your mind thinking, like, how can I use my clients? Because if they're really excited about it, especially if it's solving a problem like
Mhm.
eczema, right, that they've been hunting around forever and you helped solve it, they're going to want to shout it from the rooftops. They're going to want to share it with their friends, or they're friends with people who have this problem too. And they're going to say, you've got to do this. Here, I have this card. I'm an affiliate for them. Like, invite them to be an affiliate. Tell
Right.
them like to be an affiliate. Now they're like, ooh, I can be an affiliate.
Yeah, because you get an extra bar of soap next time or
You get an
whatever.
extra bar of soap, or you get a t-shirt. If once you bring me 5 customers, you get a special affiliate t-shirt with
Right.
the only affiliates get. I don't know, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
um,
No, understand.
yeah. So you're
Um,
incentivizing the affiliate behavior, right? In order to
yes.
help you grow this, because if you need 8 new clients a month,
Mhm.
you're going to need some help,
Yeah.
right?
So here's 8 people that are willing, maybe 4 people who are willing to share it with somebody else.
Right.
If so,
You'll
okay.
sort of figure out, what is that number? Like, out of the 8 people every month,
Yep.
maybe 2 out of 8 turn into affiliates.
Right.
Whatever the number is, you'll have a number, and you can just start to bank on that number happening.
Yep.
And
Okay.
at first, it's just a beta test. You're just testing stuff out, and you're not sure, but I would be using your affiliates. And then you suggested at the beginning that you wanted to look at, like, where are the places that who are the people that would have this problem, or who would know the people who have this problem, so that you can
Right.
get this product in front of them to help promote it for you. Um, so are there influencers? Who are the influencers in your, I'm thinking of like homeschool groups, are typically made up of moms who are more into natural herbal remedies,
Right.
um,
Homesteading.
homesteading.
Yeah.
Hmm.
They'd probably be doing making their own soap, but you never know.
Um,
Like,
people who go to naturopaths, who go see functional doctors, maybe even like figuring out who are the functional doctors in my area and introducing myself to them and giving them free product,
right. To pass out to their customers.
or just to them at first, because if they like
Right.
it,
Right.
you could maybe strike up um a partnership and be like, I will give you this product at 10% off,
Right.
as much as you want, and you can sell it for me at your place of
Front
business.
front office, yeah, at the cash register.
Hmm.
Um, so I had some hairdressers that were interested to start with as well, because
Hmm.
when
They're washing their hands a lot.
yep, and I don't know whether they were looking for themselves or whether they were looking at sharing it with their customers as well. So, but
Yep, that's a great suggestion. Yeah, so it could be people that I just immediately went to, who are the people that are washing their hands a lot, who would have dry
right,
hands or whatever. But to your point, like, maybe they just want to pass out nice smelly soaps
right,
um to their clients. Or it could be they might be trying to use it as a thank you gift or a welcome gift to a new client.
hmm,
You could pitch it that way to some people, like, I have a bundle here that, I'm thinking of, like, realtors do this, right? They've
yeah,
often
right,
been approached by realtors, like, help me create a bundle for a new customer. And
right,
so who would those kinds of people be? And now you're selling more product to them, right? You're selling the bundle
right.
instead of just.
Instead of just a bar at a time,
Mhm.
right? So
Yeah.
ConvertKit, I know you talked about that. Is that a decent
Yeah, I
email
love it.
process program?
I love it. The question you should really be asking is what is my e-commerce platform going to be?
Hmm.
Because it needs to sync with that, right? There needs to be a what is the word? I'm totally spacing. Needs to automatically be able to talk to each other. And not all email platforms are supported by the different e-commerce platforms.
Okay.
ConvertKit is now, I think, one of the bigger ones, and it is by most now. Like MailChimp is supported by everything. Like every, you know what I mean? Like MailChimp is where everyone starts in most cases. I think it's very clunky, so I don't use it anymore. It's
Right.
not one that I would eventually encourage you to graduate from it at some point. So the question is like, well, do I just want to skip that and start with the one I want forever now, or do I just
Well,
start
I
with,
guess that's why I threw that question out was because,
yeah.
you know,
Um,
if it's good, I don't want to start with something that isn't
yeah.
and then have to start over again.
So I personally would not start with MailChimp.
Yeah.
I would look at Drip, ConvertKit, and maybe ActiveCampaign. Um, See if your e-commerce, what's your platform that you use right now? Is it just Square or?
No, on GoDaddy is our website, and it has its own stuff in there that I don't.
Oh, okay, it has an e-commerce platform.
Yes. Hmm.
Okay.
But it doesn't have. I mean, as I look at it, maybe there's room for it to grow. Maybe it has some of this, um, automation in responses for customer bases as you buy things. As you subscribe, it will send you an email that says thank you for subscribing. But I haven't found that it's as robust as what we're talking about in the,
Yeah.
how do we set up the email sequences?
Yeah, and that's the problem that I think you're going to run into, and that for anyone who's listening to this video later, like something to think about because it's okay to set up something for the beginning, like just to get going, but if the tool that you purchased is limiting your ability to build a machine that will allow you to scale, then I don't think it's a good investment, right? Because the goal is to be able to do all these things that you're going to learn in marketing school so you can build this machine that runs on autopilot for the most part, that you only have to push the flywheel every now and then.
Right.
Um, but if the e-commerce platform you have is so clunky that it, you can't ever you can't integrate like email nurture sequences and
Right.
tagging then all this stuff I'm going to teach you isn't you're not going to be able to do it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Shopify is something to look at if I'm sure you've heard of Shopify especially for if you're just starting with soap. If you're going to do meat, um, Gray's Cart or Local Line have the ability to purchase by weight. And so that's kind of their key feature, which you can't do that purchase by weight thing with Shopify.
Right.
I love Shopify too. I think it's a great platform for things that aren't weighted.
Hmm.
Um, so I don't know if that just got things more complicated for you, but um,
Yeah. I'll keep
convert,
digging.
but you almost have to ask, what's my e-commerce platform? That's the first question you have to ask. And then
Okay.
from there, once you've settled on one that you like, and then you're looking at, well, what are the email service providers that are supported by this? And I would
Okay.
say in these cases, um, those three that I mentioned before, ConvertKit, Drip, and ActiveCampaign, those will all be supported. MailChimp will be supported as well. It's just the way they set up,
Yeah.
it's a little clunky, and you will have to pay for it. Like you can't
Right.
get the free version and do all this cool digital marketing stuff. Like
Right. Yeah.
you'll have to do the paid version. So, um, yeah,
Okay.
I want you to also, we've got like 4 minutes left. I want you also to be thinking like long term. So you've got this short-term strategy. Your focus should really be on figuring out my opening offer, right? What is my gateway
Right.
product going to be? And maybe what is my upsell? Like getting that ready so you know, like upsell, downsell, whatever. Like if someone says yes to that, what's the next thing? And would you like to
Right.
add fries with that? Or um,
Right.
whatever that is. And then getting getting clear about, which we just sort of did. It's 16 people. Like, how am I going to get that $500 a month?
Right.
What does that look like? And you might have a couple of different ways you can get there, but circling the wagons around that strategy. Your first 3 months, 3 to 6 months here are really all about growing your email list and attracting your audience. So you're going to spend more time and money on the front end of building this business on
Right.
the top of funnel stuff, right? Like
Right.
just building content that's attracting your audience to you. But you also need to make money. So we don't want
Yeah.
to like spend all our time and money just trying to build a list. And then we put this offer in front of them that's not landing. And
hmm
realize that I spent all this time and money attracting an audience that doesn't even want what I want to sell. So
Right.
like we need to be beta testing the actual offer, and figuring out what is the offer that works with this audience I'm attracting, and um, making sure that that funnel is working. Okay, I can get 16 people through this funnel, and here are the numbers that those 16 people are showing me. This is the number of leads that I need to have to get to 16 people, right?
Okay.
To
hmm
convert. The number, how many of these people turn into affiliates? How many of these people come back month to month? How much do they
Right.
spend month to month? How many of them turn into $50 a month clients? How many of them, how many bars of soap would they love for me to do? What else do they want me to make as I'm talking to
Yeah.
them? What is the
hmm
feedback that I'm getting, right? So that you can then, this is the second part of my conversation. Your next focus is, how do I ascend people through my ladder? And
Right.
that's the, how do I maximize profits off the customers I already have? You are protecting this small group of people at first that you are collecting, your super buyers, right? You are turning them into super buyers. You are grooming them. You are reaching out to them. You are sending them special gifts every now and then. You are thanking them. You're asking them for
Right.
testimonials. You're asking them for feedback. They are your beta users, and you are taking good care of them. And these will turn into your hardcore buyers, right? Who will stay
Right.
with you forever, and they will eventually start buying more and more as you
Right.
give them more offers. That's where you're going to make your money. But you do at the beginning need to spend time on a lot of top of funnel stuff, just testing this to make sure it works before you go all in and start like building
Yeah.
out that ladder. Yeah.
Okay.
So I love that you're not doing the meat until a little bit later. Um,
Right.
you
Oh,
may find that your soap buyers are not meat buyers.
right. Yeah.
Something else to figure out when you're interviewing. Like,
Yeah.
what other
Right.
stuff do you guys purchase? Do
And
you even ask, where do you get your meat?
they might eat vegetables.
Yeah, they might, or they might just buy their meat from Costco, right?
Right.
And because they're budget buyers, and then you're like, but I have a feeling no, but like you might want to ask that
Yeah.
question when you're interviewing them. Like,
hmm
so I'm just kind of curious. This is gonna
Yeah.
feel like it's coming out of left field, but like what kind of meat do you eat and where do you buy it
hmm
from? And they might talk, well, we love support grass fed, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
You'll know, oh, this is that kind of a person.
So then that puts them over into that other. Yeah.
I'm more likely to be able to issue them this offer eventually. But if they're
Yeah.
like, oh, I buy at Costco, I go to Walmart, then you're gonna be like,
Yeah.
this might not be the right buyer,
Right.
you know. So
Okay. Well,
cool. Well,
thank
this has
you.
been fun.
It
Um,
has. I've
yeah,
got 3 pages of notes to go
good.
with the rest of my notes. So,
What's your action step gonna be from today? What's one thing that you feel energy around?
well, I think I'm going to go to our numbers and put that on in writing so that it's written down so I kind of have an idea of what I need and where I'm going to go with it.
Hmm.
Because $500, 16 people is, to me, up here, it's easy and it's doable. Now, in reality, I don't know what that is, but we'll try. Um, I think I've I think asking people more questions. I think getting the survey from the people who are using the soap is probably um, an important step
Mhm.
to so I can start determining what my and and if they're willing to purchase. I mean, this is all really neat that I'm giving,
Mhm.
but I need to be giving in exchange for something. And then would they be willing? I think that's another question to ask is, is this bar of soap worth $7 to you if it can solve your problem, if it can take care of the things um, that is your pain.
Mhm.
Yeah. Or what can you gain from using it? So I think that's probably my first two steps, as well as working on some of the other things. I'm writing emails. Um, I've got some welcome emails that are already, because on our current website, when you subscribe to our newsletter, it sends a welcome email out that says, "Hey, thank you. We're just learning how to do this."
Mhm.
Um, and I probably need to be working on that sequence a little bit better so that they're not hearing from me once every 3 months when I have time to sit down and write something. So that's again on my to-do list for emails. But I
Yeah.
also have to have something, we're not just a lot of people like I think you mentioned it once in somewhere that I've read. A lot of people like to hear your farm life stories, but sometimes those aren't your customer that you want to sell things to. So we we show pictures of cattle, we show pictures of calves, we show pictures of little pigs, and we talk about how that is, but I don't know that those people are soap buyers. And I don't know that those people are meat buyers later on. I mean, they're just happy to know what it's like to what a farm how a farm works.
Mhm.
So I think there's a little research to be done there as well, and how to determine whether they're interested in listening to farm life, or are they interested in listening to skin care and pasture fed Highland beef. I mean, I'm thinking
Yeah.
broadly, but
Yeah.
into the future. I think that's kind of important to know as well.
Yeah.
But that also might make a difference into what type of messages we're sending out.
And you don't know all this information right now, and you're not
Right.
supposed to.
Yeah.
This is
Hmm.
all part of the, that first year, you're just
Hmm.
throwing a lot of things against the wall. You're beta testing a lot, and you're
And
gonna learn
see what
information.
sticks. Yeah.
Yeah. And you can't skip
Mhm.
it. Like, this is part of the research process for you.
Right.
Some of you're gonna find out some information that surprises you, I bet.
Right.
And some of it you'll be like, yeah, I had a feeling that that's what would happen. And
Hmm.
it's just gonna get more and more clear as time goes by. So I love that you're starting with the numbers, and that you're starting with knowing your customer better. Your
Yeah.
customer will
Okay.
tell you what they want.
Right.
So make sure you listen.
Yeah.
Listen to the problems they're having, and they will start to suggest things to you. And you may
Yeah.
find that the Highland beef thing doesn't end up becoming as big a deal as you were expecting, because the soap
Right.
thing just started like blowing up into other avenues.
Right.
I don't
Hmm.
know. Who knows?
Yeah.
You have no idea. So just follow the energy, and
Yeah.
you will be shown what to do.
Yeah. So yeah.
All right.
I'm sure. I'm sure
You will.
there's nothing wrong with making mistakes, because then we learn which way to
Right.
go. So,
You're right.
so,
One
okay.
final tip as you're talking about your email, one way you could tackle the email mountain is to make a commitment to write a weekly email to everyone on your list. And it can be around something around soap. Like, we already threw out some ideas for
Right.
content, right? Like,
Right.
it could be embedding a video that you did of just a, a guy's guy washing his hands off, and how this particular product does it, whatever. Um, but you could just write a weekly email for, let's say, 6 weeks. And as you're writing those emails, you write them with the intention that this is something I will repurpose. Does that make sense? So it's doing double duty for you. It's going to be your weekly email, connecting, building relationship. But some of these you're just going to stick into a nurture sequence for all future customers.
Hmm.
So
Right.
as you're writing them from week to week, be like, oh, you know what? I'm going to write this in a way that I can just copy and paste it and put it into a
Right. Hmm.
evergreen kind of messaging system. Like, what does my customer probably want to know about me? Let me introduce myself. I'll write that
Right.
email today. And then next week, my email is going to be about um, how my my wife had eczema really bad and da 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 da. And we
Yeah.
started
Hmm.
this soap and it did amazing things. And here's a testimonial from someone else. Not trying to push it, but just letting people know
Yeah.
this
Hmm.
is the
Let them
thing
know
I have.
how it started.
Yeah.
Well, and that's kind of how it did. I mean, we had all this lard that was left over. What do you do with, or fat, pig fat? What do you do with that? Well, we need to render lard. Okay, now what do you do with all this lard that we have? Because we can't make that many pies. And daughter had skin problems, and so her daughter-in-law. So we made some soap, and sure enough, it turned out that it did wonderful things for her. And so that was kind of the start of it.
Yeah,
So
and you tell that story, and that's one email
yeah.
right there, right? And you just
Hmm.
tease it
Right.
next to my next email. I'm going to tell you about da 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 da. And you don't pitch, you don't say buy my soap. You just tell the story.
Yeah. Hmm.
And maybe after the sixth email, you're starting to in the PS pitch the soap too every
Okay.
week.
Yeah.
But you slowly are building an asset that you'll just go back eventually and be like, oh, I liked that email. That one did really well. I'm just going to stick it into this, container in ConvertKit or wherever, and
Right.
make an automation.
Yeah.
So that's
Okay.
a
Well,
way
thank.
to go about it instead of thinking, oh, I've got to build the onboarding email this week. Like just do a weekly email and
Yeah.
then write the weekly email in such a way that you can repurpose it, right?
Yeah. And then we can put it where it belongs once we get it done. So okay.
Cool. Hey,
Well,
do
thank
I have
you.
permission to use this as a podcast episode? This turned out really good.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
All right. I'm putting
You
you
can
on the
do that.
spot. This was really fun. This is
Okay.
like a great coaching session.
I'm curious what you took away from that conversation. Hopefully, there was one or two elements that really jumped out at you that gave you some direction, and you thought, wow, I can take that wisdom or that strategy and overlay it onto my business and give you some direction on how you can take action. Now, remember, Farm Marketing School is a monthly membership. I offer it to farmers. You sign up and you pay month to month. If you decide you want to stop after a month or two, you just cancel it. But it's really designed to be a DIY kind of program where the trainings are all like built for you. They're inside. You can go and subscribe, pick the one marketing asset that you want to work on for that month, work on it, go through that particular project, get it done, and then you can move on to the next one. There's an assessment inside of Farm Marketing School too. That's actually one of the first things I coach you to do is take the assessment to figure out where you need to focus first and gives you a little bit of direction. But one of the nice things is that in the off season here, I offer a lot of special bonus elements to the membership, and we'll be doing book studies. We'll be having some more one-on-ones, coaching session opportunities, chances to connect with each other. And so this is a really good time at the end of the season to join because we do some extra things that aren't necessarily happening in the main season itself when farmers tend to be pretty busy. So if you're curious and you kind of want to spend some time this summer really focusing on your marketing and shoring that up, learning the ropes, then I encourage you to go and sign up for it. You can go to mydigitalfarmer.com/FMS, and I'll be offering a webinar every week during the month of October to kind of introduce people to some of the stuff that we do in there. You'll have a chance to audit your sales funnel with me and then kind of be invited into the program. I do plan on closing Farm Marketing School this year, so I'm going to have a limited enrollment period, and then we're going to close it for several months to allow the group that's formed to kind of coalesce and connect. And then we'll have another point later on in the spring where we open it again. So just be aware of that it's not just going to be open-ended forever. There will kind of come a point when I do close it. And I haven't figured that out yet because it's still the end of August when I'm recording this, but I know that I need to make those decisions by the end of September. So I should have some more clarity in the upcoming episodes for you so that you know how you can get enrolled. But for now, you can get in by going to mydigitalfarmer.com/FMS and signing up. And I hope you do. All right. Well, thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you want to see the show notes, you can go to mydigitalfarmer.com/279. If you liked this episode, please leave me a review. I'm trying to collect reviews because it really does help other people find out about the show. And I just want as many people as possible to benefit from the knowledge that's in here. If you want to get more information on how to grow your marketing, I have a free email list you can get onto, and I will start sending you a series of emails over the course of like 3 months that's going to drip out some really helpful resources for you in the right order to help you kind of develop as a marketer. And I also encourage you to follow me on Instagram at mydigitalfarmer, because I do show up there inside of Instagram stories from time to time with a tip for how to market your farm better. Thanks for joining me today. It was so fun having you. Have a great week, everyone, and I will talk to you next time. I believe in you.